Welcome everyone to my first 100 days on Ark Survival Ascended, the island. Before I respawn again on the hard difficulty, I'm gonna add some mods and change the settings to my liking. Whilst I check these all off, I just want to say that I play games for fun, and one of the main pillars for my love of Ark is that you can tailor it to your own preferences. So if you don't like how I play, you don't have to watch, but I'd love it if you did. Also, this video is rated PG-13, therefore I am legally allowed to drop one F-bomb. These are the mods I enabled before I started the world. When I was creating my brand new survivor, I tried to make him look like me, in every nook and cranny. Without further ado, let's see how the island looks now. I spawn in my old familiar home of West Zone 3. A good location near the center of the map is critical with no cryopods. I started off collecting early resources to make beginner tools as I made my way to the cove. I gathered the materials to make a small platform for me on the edge of the island's dense jungle. I made a campfire and started cooking some meat. Made a full set of cloth armor, placed down a bed. I fought a moss chops which nearly killed me. That's right, a moss chops. So I made a hide chest piece. I also placed down a mortar and pestle so I could start making some narcotics, and a storage box. Near my base I noticed a trike and its baby. I pretty much spent the rest of the day and night gathering narco berries to tame it. I also expanded my platform, and after enough live-love slashing, I had enough materials for a refining board, a smithy, and a metal pickaxe. Picking for narco berries without a tame is absolutely dreadful. I looked on Dodo decks, a source many Ark players use to calculate the time and materials required to tame creatures, to see how many arrows the trike would need to knock out. If I could land all my shots on its body, it would only need 22, but I decided to make 40 because I'm a lousy shot.
Okay, so the first night is never usually that bad in any of the games, so I'll play through.
Day 2, I replaced my hatchet with a metal one just before I finished my preparations to tame the trike. I spent the early hours picking more narco berries, and after what felt like forever, I finally had 40 trank arrows to show for it.
Anyway, I started blasting.
I'm not gonna lie, the magnetizing effect in this game really messed up some of my shots, so I ended up missing or hitting its head a lot. But luckily with my last few shots it started torpor running. I quickly made a club and started beating it to knock it out. It still had some fight in it, but at the last moment I knocked it out, and another trike came and killed me right after. I quickly respawned at my base, gathering all herbivores' favorite berry, mijo berries, and fed it to the trike. So I waited, plotting my revenge, and a couple minutes later I woke up tamed. With ladies. Which allowed me to claim the baby as well. I brought them back to base, and eventually I noticed that they were opposite genders, so I considered breeding them for an imprinted baby, but decided against it. My next goal was a trike saddle, which cost 140 hide to make, so I went on another killing spree, acquiring the hide I needed piece by piece. Also, I just want to include this because it's so funny to me. I didn't survive a full 24 hours. I made my way down the beach to a white supply drop, which had a Mastercraft Parasaur saddle, which made me keep my eyes open for a good level one, but I found a 168! I needed a trike saddle to increase narcotic production. I got the last bit of hide I needed. Ladies, form a line, please. Business is a booming. I made some more tranks, killed an under-the-map Dilophosaur, and knocked out that Parasaur with ease. I went back to base while I waited for it to tame and noticed an alpha raptor in the distance. My pride turned to fear. I was scared to send my trikes in there to kill it, but then I thought, it's just a raptor. And when I killed it, I got an apprentice crossbow, which I was very happy with. Afterwards, the tech parasaur I tamed, and I named it Tech Shield, which it proceeded to fail at being because a Dimorphodon almost killed me. After that, I spent the rest of the day running around and got some metal to make a pike. I was hoping to find crystal for a spyglass, only finding some cool screenshots, my first Microraptor, I got my first green turd of a supply drop, my first explorer note,
they're relatively
making it back to my base before day 2 had concluded. Day 3, I had my eyes set on exploration, so I needed a flyer. I spent the morning running around looking for a decent level Pteranodon, making my way past the red obelisk where I saw 2 tech Quetzals, including an alpha basically at ground level. This is when I knew the mod definitely wasn't working as intended. I went and did a part of the classic note run and saw a Titanosaur spawn while looking for a good level Pteranodon,
is one of the
before finally settling on this level 90.
I have become quite enamored with the subject. After this next set of...
I got this torch from a green turd supply drop. When it tamed, I named it the Evening Swan. Then brought it back to base and made a saddle so I could finally fly through the map. I spent about 20 minutes flying around. I went by the redwoods, tried to scale the volcano, but the fog was literally as dense as this guy's house. I flew towards the edge of the snow biome and finally found some crystal I needed for a spyglass. I went back to base and soon after, the game crashed. When I logged back on, I was back to when I first made the saddle for the PT. What is going on in those woods? So I went straight to get the crystal for my spyglass. When I got back, I wanted to tame something big to move to my main base location. I went scouting around the river that runs above the redwoods and saw a level 129 tech wreck. So I spent the rest of day 3 and the beginning of day 4 preparing for it, during which I got killed by a tech raptor. Day 4, I was still on the grind when I found and killed another alpha raptor with just my 1 saddle trike. I saw a white drop in the jungle and went for it only to die to Trudon. I got my stuff back with my trike, except for my dignity. I just focused entirely on the trap.
that typically lives in the
When I finally built everything I needed, my PT didn't have enough weight to carry it all, so I flew around to find a good level Argentavis, stopping for a yellow drop of the Dotigrid saddle, nearly dying to a pack of raptors. I was dying of cold when I went near the mountain, so I had to go back to base and unfortunately spend some of my chitin on some warmer armor. When I flew back out, I eventually found a level 130 on the edge of the snow biome. I quickly thought of a trap, getting what I needed, and come moonlight, the Argy was in a scuffle with a pack of Allosauruses, so I tried to help out and ended up killing one. I tried to lure the eagle away before the rest of the pack got revenge, but this one white Allo wouldn't leave me alone, so I tried to kill it with my PT. And shockingly enough, I did it. Day 5. I built my trap, and only after I knew I made it too high. I tried luring it in and placing the doorway behind him, but it just wouldn't place. I still got the knockout, and I gave it the prime meat from the Allo and from another Argentavis, so he had maximum taming efficiency, and just a few minutes later it was mine. I wasn't sure what to name him, so for now I called him Woody. I picked up my trap, then flew him back home where I renamed him Freebird. I needed 150 chitin or keratin for an Argentavis saddle. I spent a good portion of the morning trying to kill turtles, but they are quite tanky. And I didn't bring any plastic straws, so I flew to the edge of the swamp and jungle to get the chitin. I crafted the saddle right then and there and felt just like the good old days. I got some explorer notes as I flew back to base, preparing my gear, getting my trap for the Rex, and killing a Bronto. When I found it, I set the trap down Took a few attempts, but after not too long it was in and down for the count. I gave it some fresh prime meat and it tamed just before bedtime. I traditionally name every Tech Rex I get after a Transformer, so get used to these names. I made a saddle for it earlier and rode it as I... Oh, Ark, you're making me blush. As I killed everything in my path. The last thing I did was kill an Alpha Raptor and get a Mastercraft crossbow from it. Day 6, I killed another Alpha Raptor. I got Rodimus and Freebird back to base. I took my structures to lay out the foundation of my new main base, placing a storage box, the walls, and a door. I then flew to a purple drop and decided to take the day looking for an Anki and supply drops while admiring the beauty of it. I killed a stupid saber-tooth, and I was quickly dying to cold, but luckily I got some fur gauntlets which helped me survive. I gotta get me one of those.
Found.
I didn't find any Yankees at the other mountains, so I decided to go to the Redwoods Mountain, and exactly what I was afraid of happening happened. I flew away from the Thyla, and it still got me! I flew back and got my stuff on the Evening Swan. I did find a level 80 Yankee, but that was just too low for me. My flyers and I had an epic dogfight with this green Argentavis. When we made it back to base, I saw a level 120 Megalodon and tranked it out, even though I didn't really need it. I built some necessities for my new base as I waited for it to tame. Getting another green turret supply drop. When the Meg tamed, I named it Jason, for some reason. I don't know why. I ended the day just heading to my new base, placing my smithy, refining forges, crafting a fabricator, transferring materials to the smithy, placing my fabricator, a mortar and pestle, and extending my base out by 1 before killing a low-level Theri nearby. Day 7. Honestly, for my next few days, I didn't really have a main goal. I kinda just did things on a whim. I brought my tames and materials to my new base, placed a bed down, a campfire, a feeding trough, which I had to manually add each of my dinos to so they would start eating from it, and then it just flew off again, looking for an Anki around mountains, getting supply drops on the way. I killed this poopy head. I found another Titanosaur, and this purple drop had an Anki saddle for me, which was nice. I tried going into the snow, but a UD ran escaped my Argentavis fear, so I flew off. 3 Tech Gigas all right by each other. No wonder this mod was disabled. I picked up an Explorer note, then flew to Carnivore Island to pick up some more. Which gave me the idea to fly to Herbivore Island for an Anki. When I got near there, I saw about 5 Tech Quetzals spawn and fly around ground level. When I did arrive to Herbivore Island, I slaughtered everything until a good level Anki would spawn. I killed so much for so long without getting a good Anki. Day 8. When a good Anki did finally spawn, it was worth the wait. I knocked it out and gave it berries. It took long enough to tame for me to try Photomo for the first time. When it did tame, I named it Danky. I saddled it and hit 1 metal rock because of the weight of all my supply drop goodies, so I just carried it back to base. When we arrived home, I added Danky to the trough list, put my loot in storage, started smelting the little metal we acquired, made some narcotics with all the spoiled meat I had, and I made some more storage boxes for materials I would use to build the rest of my base. From there I flew out in hopes of finding a good level Therizinosaur, or for wood, or a Doedicurus for stone. Instead, this happened. I found a parent Ceratosaurus, which I wanted to claim the baby of, so I picked it up and brought it back to base, but it wouldn't let me claim it because I didn't kill the parent, so I built some more walls around my base, trapping it in there, placed more walls, and as I flew back out to kill the parent, I saw another parent Ceratosaurus right near my base, so I killed it, claimed the baby, which died to 2 Alpha Raptors, which got my Argentavis down to half health, and when I flew back to where I found it, the parent Ceratosaurus was nowhere to be seen. So I just ended the day with getting this supply drop. Day 9, on my way back home, I found a level 130 Dode, which I brought back to base and knocked out. While I waited, I picked up all my metal walls, built a little taming pen for me to drop dinos into, placed a layer of stone porter walls on my base, and then I noticed my Dode lost taming efficiency. I then flew with my Anki to do a bit of a metal run. When I came back, the Dode was tamed, and I named it. I took it for a spin. I was very satisfied. I started smelting my metal and made foundations to rebuild my trap down by the river, as I still needed a good wood gatherer. I didn't find a good level fairy, so I made a risky play and started killing the low levels with my RG. I stopped after this medium level mate booster pair got my RG low, so I went back to base and brought my Rex out before the day ended. Day 10, I found a level 90 Castroid, which I decided to tame because I didn't want to waste any more time looking for one. I dropped it in the pen and went back to get Rodham. When I was back at base, I tranked out the beaver. While I waited, I placed and demolished all my thatch structures for their materials, cleared out an area I wanted to place the gateway, went to get a yellow drop, crafted some ghillie because I was dying to heat. Then it was tamed. I saddled it and named him due to the colors. I used the wood to make more storage boxes, which let me get some more stone to clear the area to place the wood behemoth gateway, which honestly I had mixed feelings on. I then flew to check on my Megalodon, who thankfully still had food. When I got back to base, I organized all my perishables into a preserving room. Then I flew back out to look for a fairy. Even Spinos can Trudon. I killed another Sabertooth, saw a level 115 Tech Quetzal, and finally found a good fairy. Not great by any measure, but I needed him, so I spent 8 minutes and 58 seconds luring it into my trap. And tranked it out. And right next to us was a level 140 Bronto, so I had to get that too. When it was down, it was attacked by Dimorphodons, which ruined its taming effectiveness. I claimed this baby Diplo for no reason, and tamed this Mesopithecus before. Day 11, the fairy tamed.